Gen V Season 2 Episode 4 just confirmed everything I suspected. Cipher isn't who he says he is. This episode revealed the truth about Cipher's connection to Thomas Godolkin, the man behind the university. From the old man in the hyperbaric chamber to the fact that Cipher doesn't have any compound V in his bloodstream, all the pieces are actually starting to come together. And if my theory is right, then Cipher isn't even a real person. He's just a puppet of a man who's been hiding in the shadows all along. So guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we're about to break down who the guy in the hyperbaric chamber really is. In the episode, Cipher claims that the old man in the hyperbaric chamber is his father, but that just doesn't add up. First of all, they don't even look alike. And when the man's eyes open for a brief second, if you look at the color of his eyes and the wounds on his body are consistent with the fact that there was a fire started the night of the accident. Remember, one of those scientists had fire powers and he started a fire when they had the compound V accident the night Thomas Godolkin quote unquote died. To add to that, Cipher himself is revealed to have no compound V in his blood. When he was training Marie to use her powers, and we're gonna get into Marie's powers because that is the key behind everything in the boys universe. So we're gonna get into that a little later in the video. But when Cipher was training Marie, when Marie started tapping into the real strength of her powers when she was moving the goat Elon Musk, she noticed in Cipher's bloodstream, it's not what she noticed, it's what she didn't notice. The fact that Cipher had no compound V in his blood, which means that Cipher isn't a soup. But if Cipher isn't a soup, how exactly did he control Jordan? That is a mystery that the show introduces. I think the way that Thomas Godolkin is able to control Cipher is also the same way that Cipher is able to control Jordan's body. I believe Cipher is just a puppet body being controlled by Thomas Godolkin. If we go back to the flashback, that night they were testing and experimenting with compound V, and we saw all the other scientists get powers themselves. While Thomas did not ingest any of the compound V that we saw, he was in the room with them and he was contaminated. So maybe, just maybe, he developed some sort of ability that allows him to control people. Since we never saw Thomas ingest any compound V, it doesn't make sense that he would pass out because he was not contaminated by the compound V unless he was. And if he was, that would give him the ability to not only sustain his life, but project his powers into someone like Thomas. That's why Thomas was able to complete Project Odessa. By using Cipher's body, Cipher was able to continue to research. Cipher was there when Marie was born, but Cipher was not there in 1967 when Thomas first started Project Odessa. So how did he learn about it and how was he able to continue it if not for Thomas's involvement? Which brings us to the key to all of this, the key to Project Odessa, Godolkin University itself, because Cipher told us that Marie is the very reason they created Godolkin University. And that's because of Marie's powers. This episode, we got a deeper look into what Marie's powers are and how they work. We learned that Marie's powers are officially classified as hemokinosis, aka bloodbending. If any of you guys have ever watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Katara was bloodbending, we found out that bloodbending is the most powerful ability you can have. The ability to control someone else's body. But Marie takes that bloodbending to the next level. She can control your body and blood on a cellular level, which is what Cipher is trying to get her to understand, which is why Marie was also able to detect the fact that Cipher had no traces of compound V anywhere in his bloodstream. Marie is being portrayed as the most powerful soup in the universe and her powers are pretty accurate. So I'm 100% certain that Cipher actually does not have any compound V, so he's not a soup. Even though he was controlling Jordan at the end, that's just an extension of Thomas Godolkin, because Cipher spent a lot of time in this episode calling and referencing meat bags, blood bags, almost as though there's a detached sense between the carrier of the blood or the meat puppet, such as Elon Musk or himself, because he also mentioned to Kate, when he was talking about controlling Jordan, he mentioned the fact that it's like a puppeteer controlling a puppet with no strings. That was the biggest hint to me that he himself is being controlled and he's not the puppet master controlling Jordan. Whoever is controlling Cipher is also controlling Jordan. So it's just an extension of Thomas Godolkin, which is why Cipher's so interested in honing Marie's powers, because Marie's power is not about being a weapon. It may be the key to restoring Godolkins' body. As we saw the old man's body in the hyperbaric chamber, he's clearly burnt, he can't move, he's in that tube keeping him alive, and we saw another bed in that same room. With Marie's ability to not only control your bloodstream but move your body, she could be the key to getting him out of the chamber, putting him on the bed, and using whatever power she has, miracle bloodbending ability, to cure whatever happened to him that night. Her hemokinesis makes her the perfect candidate to do this, to fix his blood flow, to heal his organs, and maybe to even regrow his body. We don't know the full extent of her powers, but clearly Cipher has been pushing her to learn how to work on a deeper sub-level. And I think Project Odessa goes beyond just Thomas Godolkin. The true key behind Marie and her ability is control. How she moved Jordan's bodies, how she moved Elon Musk, and the way we see Thomas Godolkin puppeteering people. Marie could also move and control people, and not just any people, people with compound V, i.e. the strongest person in the universe, Homelander. Imagine if Marie could control Homelander's body, control his flow of compound V. I said it in my last video, if she hones her powers enough, the fact that she can detect compound V in your bloodstreams, and the fact that we know she can remove blood out of your body, she could remove the compound V out of Homelander. If she can take away compound V and manipulate your blood, can't she also give you compound V or remove it from somebody and give it to somebody else on that level? Which makes a lot of sense if you start to think about just what they're talking about. The fact that Cipher hinted at Marie being stronger than Homelander, more powerful. Imagine the control that Marie would have if she masters her power. But then, let's take it a step further. Imagine the control Thomas Godolkin would have if he's able to control Marie the way he controlled Jordan once she harnesses her powers. The same way he was able to use Jordan's powers while Cipher was in her body is the same way that Cipher wants to use Marie's body. That's why he wants to make sure she can actually develop her powers to a level where then Thomas Godolkin, Cipher, can take her body and have mastery over it all. But guys, that's just my theory based on episode 4. I'd love to hear your theory about it in the comments section below. So far, my theory seems to be correct based on these first 4 episodes. I can't wait till next week to see what happens. Could you imagine if this is the lead up to have Marie be able to fight against Homelander in the season 5 finale of The Boys? Especially with the fact that Butcher also has a virus in his bloodstream. And if there's one person that could save him and remove all that compound V side effect out of him while stopping Homelander, it would be Marie. But guys, that's just my theory. Peace.
Back.